Yeah, Hock, Edgar Heap of Birds. So live in Oklahoma City. My mother lives in Gary, Blaine County, so I'm a Cheyenne Arapaho tribal member, and the tribe starts out with Custer, his war, his army that was here that massacred the tribe. So anyway, the demarcation is Highway 81. That's where Custer's fort was, called Fort Reno, and now it's called El Reno, but it's Fort Reno. So they fought, in the 1800s there, and it goes all the way to Texas. So sort of the northwest quadrant of Oklahoma is our treaty lands, but we're also from the north, Montana and Wyoming, Arapahoes in Wyoming, Cheyennes in Montana. But I have a lot of, certainly respect and admiration and involvement with the tribe. I'm a ceremonial leader in the earth renewal ceremony, but I'm also a headsman of the Elk Scrapers Warrior Society, society that defeated Custer at Little Bighorn. And so we are caretakers of the ceremonial ways, So that's kind of one of my main issues of focus is that life. Then also, I've been an educator for 30 years. I've retired from teaching. I've been an artist all along. I lived on the reservation for over 10 years, west of Gary, on top of that canyon, above the South Canadian River. So there's 500 acres of former reservation land that my mother has an heirship to, and I lived on that land for a decade, and so that was a big part of my life, of being informed by the landscape and the weather and all the attributes of being out in the country, and so then I moved in toward Norman, Oklahoma, and Oklahoma City. So I live here now in the city for about maybe 25 years or so. Yeah. Yeah, I'm an artist in Oklahoma City, and I live here by choice. I could live anywhere. Basically, we have art collections all over the world, but I do select Oklahoma City to live here. It's very near the Cheyenne Arapaho Nation, and I travel the world, I exhibit the world, but I live in Oklahoma City, and my family is in Gary, Oklahoma. Well, here in Oklahoma, what we're talking about is kind of how provocative is the work going to be in Oklahoma, and hopefully probably not very much. Oklahoma does have kind of a guarded history, and people kind of ease into it like a warm bath. They don't really confront it very directly. So you got 40 nations here that were brought here that suffered to be exiled to this place called Oklahoma Indian Territory. But I'm going to honor those tribes with a piece called Round Dance Nations, outdoor sculpture. But elsewhere, I guess I'm a little bit more in your face, kind of provocative. But Oklahoma, not really, I don't think. I think it's more like informative, not so hot button kind of issues. Maybe down the road at some point, but probably not. No. Yeah. Well, honor song, it can be looked at as a wish or an acknowledgement of other people. Like if someone gets a high school diploma and we're having a honor dance for them, and then they'll sing the honor song, and then that honoree will dance, and everyone will join in. So it's kind of that kind of like to honor the people. But my work so much, in a sense, focuses on honoring people all the time, without a holiday, without any kind of special trappings, So it's something that runs through my work, and collaborating with people as well, like bringing them into your work, and also the audience as well, So those kind of things happen. But I think with my work, though, it's going to be more open and kind of easy to engage, but you have to be honest about my life here in Oklahoma. And part of the promo is my first solo show in a museum in 30 years. Now, why is that? So there's something happening, a perception or a political maneuver that I never had one. There's no collections of the work in Oklahoma. I'm at the Museum of Modern Art. I'm in the Met Museum in New York. I'm at the Tate Museum in London. I'm at LACMA in LA, Denver Art Museum, but I'm not at the University of Oklahoma. I'm not, at Oklahoma City Art Museum. So no. so there's been kind of, I'm not saying there's censorship, but I'm saying the work was in some ways not really what they wanted it to be. And so I come here as myself, and I'm happy to be able to share, and it hasn't happened in 30 years. I'm Hockey Edgar Heap of Birds. I have a retrospective exhibit, over 100 works at the Oklahoma Contemporary Art Museum here in Oklahoma City, and that opens in February. Some of it opens in January, and then some of it will continue to open in April. But I haven't had a show like that, the breadth of a whole museum, in my career in Oklahoma, and I've been here since 1980 or so. So it's a real special opportunity, and if someone asks me why are you doing this show, what will happen from the show, and I think being an individual person, being myself, but then having that engaged audience and having them get to know me, I guess, and maybe know their neighbor. One time I was working in Holdenville, and I was visiting artist in residence program, and I was probably the first Native artist to come to Holdenville Elementary School to do that project, and the only other Native they knew was the janitor. And so it was so great because they might think the janitor's an artist too. Because when you come and you're the first all the time, then they might think their neighbors are worthy artists, dignitaries. So it was always that kind of groundbreaking event. Right. Well, living on the reservation area, west of Gary, about 5 miles west of Gary, on top of a canyon, overlooking the Sacanina River, doing that for a decade, and then having the weather, the wind, the heat, the cold, not having water, not having a road, not having electricity. It's kind of the old school way of living, and other people live that way as well. The farmers that are there, the non-native farmers are there too. They have a hard life with nature as well. But anyway, I learned a lot. I learned how to deal with fire, cutting wood, gardening, hunting, just all kinds of things you need to make your life more comfortable. But the nature and in the ceremonies of the Cheyenne Nation, I'm immersed in that as well, which is very, very natural, very direct with how you deal with the solstice. But anyway, all those kind of learning experiences has taken me to be comfortable around the planet. And one of the things I really feel strongly about is that we should know the planet. We should know the ocean, we should know the fish, we should know the mountains, know the glaciers, know the African, savanna, all these places, So I've traveled all those spots. I've been in South Africa, Zimbabwe, Botswana, with the animals, looking at rock art in Zimbabwe. I've been swimming in the Great Barrier Reef, 40 miles out to sea, east of Australia, where the current's so strong people couldn't get out of the boat, because they moor you off to where the current will bring you back. If they turn it around, you'd go to Fiji, you'd be gone, so they moor you to where you got to get out of the boat until you'll come back to the boat. So those kind of experiences were very, definitive to me to know the planet, or to go to Peru and be in the Amazon, be in the Andes, and to be in a spot where you see the Southern Cross. And you think, what happened? The Big Dipper's set. It's set about 9 o'clock, and there's no Big Dipper anymore. There's a whole nother world rolls up in the sky, which is more the Southern Cross. And I never knew the Southern Cross. And I even saw autumn in Peru, and I came back to Oklahoma, and autumn came back again because the earth shifted back and forth, and I saw the shadows again from summer, So all these kind of things, help you orientate yourself on the planet. So I've been privileged to have been able to travel and do research and share with artists around the world, and I collaborate with artists wherever I go, But I think we should all get to know the planet, and not have to be grand trips to Africa, but even in Oklahoma, you got so much land and open spaces and so much weather to be not engaged away from it, in the shopping mall, but actually go out in it, sit in it, put on a coat, sit outside, make a fire, just kind of engage what you have. Well, a big part of Honor Song will be these paintings behind me, the Noof series, Noof #4, Cheyenne word for #4. But it goes back to being on the prairie, west of Gary, the canyons, the trees, the juniper trees, and then the animals, me hunting quail and rabbits and my dogs running, making some of these forms behind me, and then extending that to go to Australia, the Great Barrier Reef, to swim with the fish and see with these huge clamshells that a person could sit inside of. They're so big, that kind of life. And then to have a family and to go with your family and swim in the tropical spots across the Caribbean or Gulf of Thailand, or to be on St. John and Virgin Islands with my daughter today. And we're like I tell them, we're 3 other mammals in the water today. We're with the other animals, and have that kind of buoyancy in the salt water, and be at home, not afraid, not it's shark night. It's be afraid of everything that's out in the world, right? No, nothing's gonna hurt you. If you don't bother it, it's just I've never had any problems anywhere on the planet, like hardly. But it's that kind of thing where you just be comfortable with the life on the planet, and the paintings continue to evolve. And I'm doing torn paper collages now. I was in New Mexico last week. I made a new set of 4 of these torn collage paper pieces, and it still represents a bit of the land too in New Mexico, or having been recently in the Caribbean as well. So all these kind of things, I just keep moving through my life to make them inform my practice. Well, I do a lot of prints, and they're called monotype prints, and so they're one of a kind, and they're done with a viscosity process where the thickness of the oil mixed with the ink and also the oil that I would put on the plate, and I use text words, so I put it on with a brush, and so there's a certain oil mixture in my brush, also the oil mixture in the ink, and they kind of react together. There's a resistance there. So I've been doing that for about 25 years. My instructor, my mentor was Michael McCabe. He's a Navajo printer in Santa Fe. He's passed on, but he taught me how to do that process. It's called viscosity printing. And so I've been fortunate to explore that and make that my own process in my own way. And then that work was collected by the Museum of Modern Art. There were 48 prints collected, which was a major event. Then it was shown at MoMA in New York City, and the Tate Modern bought 48 pieces as well. So all these things have happened, and there's been a little bit of wealth, I guess, from me doing that, because I operate without a gallery. I don't share my money with the gallery. I do it all myself. And so I've been able to make 2 endowments, one at the University of Kansas, and then the gallery is named after my family, and now it's a native art show every year, annually, forever. And the other one is Tyler School of Art, Temple University, Philadelphia. And now that's a residency with Norman Akers, who's an Osage painter. He'll leave there for the semester and make artwork and have show in the gallery named after my family. And that was a gift I gave to Temple University. And I have my master's degree from Temple, my bachelor's degree from KU. So I've been able to take the wealth from the prints that I learned how to make from the collections in London and New York and LA and give them back to help Native artists. Well, within the monotype printing process, you have a plate, and then I'm going to paint words on the plate backwards, and they come out forwards, because of the reversal of imagery. But the point is, when you put something on the plate, the first print off the plate is called a primary print. And then there's still ink left on the plate without inking it up again or repainting it again. And so if you go back on the plate, put paper on the plate, run it back through the press, then that's called a ghost print. And so the first print off, when you finish the primary, the next print would be the first ghost. And you can actually do 3 or 4 if you needed to. And there are different variances of brightness, but maybe 1 or 2. But I always make one ghost print and 1 primary print, and I hang them together as one installation. There'll be 24 primary prints, 24 ghost prints. And I really feel strongly about the idea of being misrepresented in America, in that they think we're ghosts. So, yeah.
With that siren,
yeah.
But,
So the ghost print that I would make, the pulling off the plate after the primary is done, that has a representation conceptually as that we're ghosts in America. That Native American life, people think is over, gone, didn't exist very well. It's hard to understand, hard to see. Although we're very vivid and we're very alive, very active people. In American media and American history, we're like a ghost. We're like kind of invisible. And so I make a ghost print for every primary print that I create. I have a companion ghost, and I hang them together and I do kind of make the viewer acknowledge, do they think we're ghosts? Do they think we're invisible? Are we vivid and strong and bright? And so it's kind of a conceptual challenge there. So I ghost all the prints that I create. And no one does that in printmaking. No one. People always tell me that, Edgar, no one works with ghosts but you. And it took me 20 years to figure that out. But then I started thinking about the metaphor, because I'm a conceptual artist too. I think about ideas all the time, not just techniques. And so I felt that kind of absent nature of people that we're not acknowledged very strongly. So then I thought the ghost print was a good way to get to that point.